In today's session, we'll be mostly recapping most of the important things that we've covered. Um, I will be, I'll be, you know how yesterday, as a brief recap of what we did yesterday, brief recap of what we did yesterday, we simulated or recreated an e-commerce photo shoot, covering from taking the picture to editing it and preparing it for say upload to like Instagram or so. Today I'm going to also do this again, but not from the taking the picture aspect, but mostly focusing on the editing now. Just so you know, repeating this is a way for it to be reinforced in our minds and to, just so that if there's anything that you missed or didn't pick on yesterday, you can just pick up on it again today. And mostly for what we did yesterday, we mainly focused on doing it in Lightroom. Then, just because of that excess part that we needed to heal, to use the heal to edit, we moved it to Snapseed. Now, I will talk about what would be my ideal workflow between the two, then demonstrate how it would be just using one of them through and through from beginning to the end. So, but before that, um, just a brief, I'm just going to do a brief rundown of what we've covered so far. So, in the previous classes, we recreated a product shoot. We mainly focused on product photography because a good number of us have products that we are selling online, selling, and hope to someday sell on like e-commerce websites. So we recreated something like this, but with natural light, because I understand not everybody may have access to a studio or big different many different lights. And yeah, we covered natural lighting, achieving that same effect with natural light, even down to editing it in Lightroom and also editing it in Snapseed. And showed how you can use artificial lighting. That's like your ring lights or your LED lights, whichever additional lights that you have available to you. And we said that one of the advantages of having artificial lighting is that you can now simulate whatever it is that you want. Natural light, while it's typically it can be, you can make it soft, it's from one source, it's inexpensive. At the same time, it can be a bit limiting. You can't control how bright the sun is going to be. You can't control how harsh or how soft it's going to be. So there are ways that you can manipulate um, natural light for it to work in your favor. I say maybe in this picture, like using light diffusion sheet or a cloth to just cover the window to make the light a bit softer. Then even in your set, by the time you are taking the picture, shooting in portrait instead of just normal photo mode will help you to have a generally softer image. Whereas if you want that sun-kissed, like uh, sun-kissed kind of picture. Maybe you're showcasing makeup or lipstick or even clothes, and you just want that harshness of the sun. You don't need to do any of this softening and just use it as it is. But like we said, you can't really control, there's not much control with natural light, which is where artificial lighting comes in. So it might be something worth investing in, maybe starting off with a ring light or the LED lights that you saw me using. And yeah, so we also went through camera settings that you should turn on if you will be doing a lot of well, professional level mobile photography. So, like using the HDR, turning on HDR if you are going to be taking outdoor landscape photos, turning on grids to make sure that you can do your composition well. We talked about shooting in burst mode for where you're in a situation where things are moving fast, so that you can be able to capture the moment and not lose what's happening. Then, so yesterday's focus was about optimizing our images. Another thing we dwelt a long time on is composition. And composition is one of those things that I feel makes or breaks a good picture. Um, you know how we were sharing the examples, we're going through the assignments yesterday, the nail polish picture that I think it was Bamidele, either Bamidele or Emanuela that took that picture. And I was saying that, oh, if you had moved the nail polish to the center of the frame, or if you had like repositioned the nail polish brush for when you did the action, when you did the action photo, so I can really see polish drop. All those things boil down to composition, and having a good composition, arranging your image in a way that the things of interest can be seen. That's like the important things can be seen clearly, and you can push it a bit further and make the image look interesting. But I understand that for products, the number one important thing is, and this is something that we should all bear in mind. If you are taking photos of your products, the number one thing you should care about is making sure your product can be seen clearly and as it is. And I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you don't want a situation where you take a picture and maybe an outfit that the material is deep blue is looking a bit greenish because of the lighting that was in the place that you took the picture. Or by the time you take a picture of a product, maybe you took it from above looking down, and it now makes it look as if it's smaller than it actually is. So doing or paying attention to all of the composition rules that we talked about, rule of thirds, patterns, um, leading lines, all those things will help you to make your image stand out and achieve what you are hoping to achieve with those images. Okay, so before we go too far, another thing that I would want us to remember is, for especially for if those of us that would be maybe purchasing lights and looking to now kind of build our own home studio setup, is three-point lighting. So the your most important light or your brightest light is the one we call the key light. Well, because it's the key. So the key lights. Then the second light that helps to reduce shadows that form on your face is your fill light. Then the light that now comes that like an additional light that you put at the back um to light your subjects from behind. It's called the backlight. And I actually even have a similar setup here. I have a softbox light that is here as my own key light. Then there's the light coming from the monitor that is on top of the monitor. That's my fail light because it's helping to reduce the shadows on my face. Then behind me over there, okay, the background won't allow you to see it, is is a what do we call it? It's my backlight. It's my backlight. So so you can use 3-point lighting, 2-point lighting, 1-point lighting, depending on like how many lights that you can get your hands on. And of course, you almost always have natural lights that you can depend on to be one of your lights, and just fill out the rest. So I think this would be a good time for us to pause and take a poll. Um, and today we'll have just the two last polls for um, the mobile photography session. And the question for the first poll, can that come up? We want to know what is the this was a poll, actually a poll question from yesterday. I don't know if it was I don't remember it being asked. So okay. Uh, so yeah, what is the challenge that you face when creating photos or contents for your products or services or business, for a product, service, or business? Is it fear? Is it lack of ideas? Is it that maybe the phone that you have has a low-end camera? Or is it that there's no free space for you to even take some of all these photos? Because who knows, some of us might stay in places where like our landlord mandates that oh, you can't do this here or you can't do that here. Or maybe when you want to take street photos, it's you encounter ugly rules and they are maybe trying to obtain your phone, or they are trying to do one thing or the other to hinder you. So just let us know, then we'll review these answers in a bit. So I don't know if Joy is here. If Joy is here, from our previous class, yes, from yesterday, the review that we did yesterday, I think Joy was the overall winner. So there's one particular picture that she took that I would like for her to um oh, okay. Um so most of us, the highest challenge is a lack of ideas, then followed by the poor phone camera and no free space. Okay. So I would say for to be able to get ideas of what to do is to just, I would say, to search and research. You know, like I tend to get my ideas from places like Pinterest, work that other people have done. So go online, go to sites like Pinterest and maybe Instagram for similar businesses to just look at what they've been doing to see if I can, do my own version of that or something inspired by that. For doing stuff like that, especially at the beginning, can help you to flex that creativity muscle to help you now like be able to on your own now start generating your own ideas. Then for lack of space, that really is a concern. I would say maybe collaborating with people who have spaces. When I started out in my own business, I first started working out of a library, the library in my church. Then got speaking to people, talking with people. One of our church members had a whole garage that they were not doing anything in that space, and he decided to like offer it to me to use as a workspace and a studio space. And over time, I was now able to even start paying for the space before I now got a different space. So just I would say speaking to people, looking for who you can collaborate with. You might collaborate with a photographer or a friend that you know that has more space, or even your church. You can always just even your church, your community, friend, places that you have interacted with. Just let people know that, oh, this is your challenge, and that you are open, and that any assistance, so to speak, would be of great help. And there are co-working spaces that you can take advantage of that also have places where you can take photographs. Okay, so for Joy, are you here? I would like for you to briefly come up. Uh, Mr. Godwin, if she is here, maybe just give her help her to be able to unmute her mic so she can just explain to us how she was able to achieve this long exposure photograph. And I think it's also device specific as well.
Sorry, hi Joy. If you're on the
Okay.
call, please just raise your hands with the raise hand option. I'll allow you come up on stage and share how you created the picture.
Okay, so while we are waiting for Joy, I would like to hand over the mic to my sister, who also happens to be a content producer. She had worked with different brands, producing fashion shoots, generating written content, and she recently just came back from a tour to some West African countries where she only went with her mobile devices. So I would like for us to listen to her, to hear her talk about settings, the experience, setting gears that she was using, and she shares some of the images that she was able to capture on the go. So, yeah, Chika, are you here? Can I stop sharing? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. So just I know I gave a very brief, abridged introduction. So just reintroduce yourself, tell us a bit about you, then the work that you did over the West African countries. And one of the reasons why we are even doing this is to like showcase what is possible, what you can do with these particular skills. So I am handing over control to you now.
Can I go ahead?
You will need to turn down the
I've done
speakers
that.
and mute on. Okay, okay.
Chika, or rather Chikame Onigogu. So, like he said, I am a content producer. I've been doing that for about, I would say, close to 7, 8 years now. And sorry. Okay, yeah, so I've worked with a couple of brands. I used to manage content and in finance and did a couple of years in banking and finance. If some people might be familiar with like campaigns like when Davido got signed to Wema Bank, so I was on that team. Then after that, I moved into like fashion. I worked with some top Nigerian fashion brands, and one of them being like NAC Apparel. And so far, like I've pivoted to, I work with a lot of social impact organizations, but personally, in my own time, I do travel storytelling. And just like Tonto has said, when I travel, it's just me and my mobile device. So just in a couple of minutes, I'll be sharing how I managed to do that. I was even like hoping I would even have time. If we have enough time, maybe I'll share like some of the things I also do like on the fashion end of things, because believe it or not, like while a lot of fashion brands also like invest in huge equipment and huge shoots, there are different images and visuals that serve different purposes. So there are some things that you need on the go, and then you just have to make do with like mobile, and manage to do that with a couple of brands as well. So I will just start off like focusing on the travel aspect. So I don't know how many, like if there are people here that are interested in like, because I know that there's been like we've spoken a lot about like taking product images with mobile and taking like very product focused. There's also the aspect of I would call it on the go or lifestyle. So yes, even as a if you're a brand, even like as a fashion brand, you would know that when you do shoots, you have products and you have lifestyle. So what we typically usually call lifestyle are shoots that happen outside in the outdoors. Sometimes they are staged, sometimes they are not staged. For the ones that I have done personally, the majority of them are not staged because I mean it's real life and I'm going out into the world to explore. So first of all, I would talk about equipment, right? The number one thing is a mobile phone, which is the topic of the entire training, right? One common misconception, yes, the models of phone matter, but in my experience, I have found that the skill set matters more than the device that you actually have in hand. It precedes that yes, there's some phone models that you have to have, like a certain level of phone model that you have to have, but also knowing what that device has and the and all the features that you can actually use. Even this is before you edit the image, that just taking the picture, that would also help like ramp up the quality of your image. So I have two devices that I use for um, mobile photography on the go. I use an iPhone SE. A lot of people, there's so many people that would have heard iPhone SE and they were like, what's an iPhone SE? But I use an iPhone SE. That is one of the affordable versions of an iPhone. I think I use the second generation iPhone SE, And then I also use an iPhone 11. So I mentioning these two to know that these are not the top Apple devices. And on the scale of affordability, they are more on the affordable side of things, but they are very much functional in terms of the kind of imagery that I want to go for and the kind of imagery that I create. At some point, I'm also going to be sharing some of these images. These are all like unedited images as well. So you'd have like an idea of what the capacity, what the capabilities of these devices, even being on the more, I know affordable is quite relative, but on the scale of what an iPhone is priced for, an SE 2020 and an iPhone 11 are more on the affordable scale. So now, with that being said, another equipment that I also use is the DJI Osmo Mobile. So I use that because I'm constantly in motion. So one thing that affects like photography, or if you're even going as far as making videos on a mobile device, one thing that you might struggle with is stability. For someone that has created for a while, or for people, if you're here and you create over time, there's something in the content creation space that people used to joke about. They say you have a content creation hand, so your hand is a bit firm. I don't know if people can see. Maybe I'll try to like illustrate with one of my devices. So this is the iPhone. It's not really working out. So this is the iPhone SE. I don't know how you can see here. You can see that. So this is the iPhone SE, and the average. I don't know. One of the misconceptions that people also don't think that is important is your grip, especially if you're on the go, is your grip. So one thing that when people say someone has a content creator's hand, like it's not an official phrase or a word. And then you'll have like your hands gripping it. The rest, your other fingers, your thumb is solo, and the other fingers are gripping from the side. So why this is important is that it avoids shakes. So if you do not have like a gimbal, because that's the DJI Osmo Mobile is a gimbal. So if you don't have a gimbal, for example, you have you shouldn't feel like you're running at a loss in comparison to someone else that has like a device. Because I just got a gimbal like I think just in less than a month ago, and that's because like I felt like I needed to give my hands a break, and I'm doing a lot more video recording as against like capturing like images now. So like if you're just taking pictures with your mobile device, you can practice having that grip, your pinky underneath like your device, and then like gripping to the side. Because there are people that do this, and the people that do this. This is like how our parents usually hold. This is how our parents usually hold their phones. The people that do this, the people that do this, like sometimes like so if you're doing this, like there's a very big likelihood that you're going to like something is going to go wrong in the middle of your shot. Sorry, hold on. Sorry. Okay, so as I was saying, there are people that typically hold the devices like this, and like however, but an ideal situation if you're trying to get the best out of your photography is to hold this way. I'm trying to see how it can show. If people can see my hand. So where your this pinky placement is very, very important, because that is actually what is stabilizing your device in the first place. So this grip is very important. So now that being said, I'm going to share like the screen on my iPhone 11. Like I'm particularly mentioning the device name so that we will know the capacity or the capabilities of the devices in our hands. Because I believe that there are people even like in this training that are using more advanced devices. And there's this common, so there's this it's a myth, but it perhaps holds waters. If you're using like an Apple device, people always say that for images, always go for the odd numbers. So 11, 13 in that sequence. I don't know how true it is. I'm not an Apple, but there are people that really tell you that this is legit. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now, just to show you like samples of settings, samples of imagery. So what you're seeing now is an iPhone. You're looking at the screen of an iPhone 11. So as you can see, on this is my core like creation device. So the major app my main app on this device is my DJI app, and I use this to connect to my device because it helps with that. So I don't usually typically shoot with the DJI app, but when I do, it's because of features like face tracking. So if you're using a gimbal, for example, say that you're a one-man organization, you don't really have someone else, and you are the subject, you're supposed to be the subject in your shot, and you don't really have the luxury of hiring someone to take a photo for you or having like a crew or someone like that. So that is where like maybe having a gimbal and things like that will also come in handy. And with the gimbal, there are features on the DJI like face tracking. So no matter how much you move, no matter how much maybe you as a subject you're unstable or you want to change your poses or whatever it is, honestly, you can use like features like tracking on the DJI app, so your images wouldn't end up being messed up. So I will show some images first, then I'll just talk through like those images. I feel like it's not showing the best quality here, like on the call, but I hope it translates. So let me start with something I feel like maybe most people on this call would probably want to take a snapshot like that. So this picture is so I think it's interesting to mention that this is an indoor shot. This wasn't taken outside. This is an indoor shot. So one of the things that you have to also like take into consideration when you're doing mobile photography, I know that sometimes I already mentioned it and I heard you recap it as well, is lighting. And while a lot of people, it's very, very important to also get that additional lighting. But in the situation where you do not have, so I never carry around, like when I'm on the road, I don't go with supplementary lights. I always try to use daylight as much as possible. So you mentioned something about it during the poll, like somebody had mentioned, like there was a discussion about like space and limitations and things of that nature. One thing to consider if you're doing mobile photography and maybe you can't really put in a deposit for things like additional light or things like that, is to look for a space that has natural light, where there's natural light coming in. So this was done indoor, but it was done close to like a glass. So there was like a glass door that let in natural sunlight. And there's also the consideration of angles, shadows, and things of that nature. Now, even looking through, like, I'm going to swipe up because I think there's there are things that people also like overlook when you're shooting on your Apple device or any device, because interestingly, majority of these features are also like on Android devices. In fact, some Android devices even had all these features before iPhone, but we claim to be the first to arrive. But an interesting thing is that when you take a picture, especially like if I don't know if the person that took that picture was not able to come to speak about it. But like when you take a very good picture, there are times that you take a picture and you be like, that's a fluke. Like it was a one-time thing. But you actually have the capacity to swipe up and look at what your phone did to help you get that image. Like look at what angle your phone took that picture. What were the like if there was anything that you personally didn't shoot. Now, so when I shot this picture, I personally like set the I set the angle lens that was done on it was a wide angle shot. I adjusted like exposure and things like that because it was really bright. The sun was seriously coming in. But if you might happen to take a picture and you feel like it's a fluke, or you're like, I want to replicate this again, like I want to know what I did to get this image, you swipe up and look up like the composition of that image. Every device has the capability to do it. I'm sure some devices might have it as picture properties, but every device has the capacity to actually tell you what you did to get that shot. So you have the ability to replicate it if the same conditions are available. So because I have multiple pictures, like multiple of this same image, some in like regular angle, but this was the only one, this was the wide angle shot. I wanted to share it just to give that information on like this was indoor and there were settings that made this image possible. And if peradventure tomorrow I go back to Nimba in Liberia and I want to replicate this shot and I go to that exact glass door where there's natural light coming in, I can, through understanding the settings that my phone was on, I mean, I understood it because I put it, but if I did not, I can replicate it. And rather than it being a fluke now, it's now like an intentional shot going forward. So another image, next image I'm going to share, trying to see. So I want to do like indoor pictures first, then I'll now go to like outdoor. So let me do like another indoor shot. So this is an indoor picture. I don't know if Zoom is doing it justice so much, but it's a stained glass window in a chapel in Ivory Coast, in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Swipe up to check like the features was also shot in wide angle. I'm a wide angle addict. I'd like to shoot in wide angle because I typically like to get the full scape. Also, if you're taking pictures of buildings, if you're taking pictures of architecture, places, just outdoor, and it could also be a preference thing. I mean, you wouldn't use wide angle to shoot a product though. So just to put that out there. So this particular shot is also indoor. Like on my phone, it's much brighter. I wish it could be represented as it looks on my phone, but anyhow, running like that. So if you're taking like images, like, so one thing to notice is that inside this chapel was really dark. There were no lights inside, like no lights inside. Every light inside that you're looking at is reflections from the stained glass from the sun outside. I mean, it wasn't even a sunny day. It had actually rained before I stepped out. So for this particular shot, there was need to adjust exposure. On your device, you can actually increase the brightness, or if you're using an iPhone and even a Samsung, and I think what's this popular other Chinese phone, Xiaomi and those their brothers and sisters. If you are shooting with those devices, you can actually adjust your exposure and make the image brighter or shoot in night mode. So there's a common misconception that it has to be night before I shoot in night mode, and that's not true. So if you're in like this image now, like I was inside, there were no lights at all. It was not a bright and sunny day. The only lights that we had in that entire building was from the reflection in stained glass. So majority of the images that were taken inside this building were shot in night mode. And for the ones that were not shot in night mode, there was need to adjust exposure. I think when I would also like do like I mean, where I am is not the best place to illustrate like photography, but just to show you like the features that your devices have. And if you're not using like an iPhone, like don't look at it like it's not an iPhone thing. Like there's that common misconception. In fact, on the scale of devices, the average creator or photographer will tell you that the best mobile device for pictures and imagery is probably a Google Pixel. But I mean, we are making it work with iPhone 11 and SE. I wish I could share like some images that I've also taken like on the SE, so you know that it's not by it's the device it matters, but your skill also matters using the features that you have. So another image is let me share this one because I really like this image. This is a wide angle shot as well, but this was not just wide angle, it's like ultra wide because you can adjust those features. You actually can adjust the features. I mean, I don't know how many people are familiar with like lenses on a camera. So for this particular picture, I was actually trying to imitate a fisheye shot because it looks really good for architecture. It represents architecture really well. This is the largest cathedral. This is the largest church in the world. So, like, obviously, I can't capture the entire grandeur of the largest church in the world if I shoot in normal mode. And these are for people that maybe might be working with like buildings or working with like lifestyle shots. These are really good for lifestyle shots. I think from just listening on, I feel like I heard like I felt like I heard some fashion brands like also in the mix. So lifestyle shots, you're not going to take out obviously, yes, your image will show. I'm even going to show like a fashion picture. So um there happens to be someone on the trip with me that also owns a fashion brand. If any of you know like Soso Lagos fashion brand. So I took some pictures of her also on like my mobile device. And these are like for her fashion brand. These are images. So these are never before seen. Please no screenshots. Never before seen pictures for her fashion brand. This is one of them. So one thing too that was very important, playing with like lights, like and then angles as well, like and also using scenery. Like if you're a brand and you want to shoot lifestyle, like there's so many pictures I wish I could share, but like you mustn't even have like you mustn't have like the best backdrop. Like I've done a mobile photo shoot. This is a full-on photo shoot that we did in Yaba for a fashion brand. We went to one of these old houses in Yaba. We just asked them that please we want to use your house. It's giving aesthetics. Like the aesthetics is really awesome. And then we use like the settings on the mobile device, angles, we played with angles, we played with like and when we're talking about angles, this is no longer just about the capability of your device. This is now like you identifying like angle shots, like where I should stand, where is a good place to actually position myself. Should I bend down and like take it from like underneath, or should I take it from above? Which, by the way, if you're a fashion brand or you're doing like any lifestyle, I hope you know that if you're doing mobile shots from underneath, this is a tip. So underneath, taller, from the top, shorter. A lot of times when people
Hello, is it Is it okay? I think she's back.
Was it me?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
know.
it seems like maybe your
Okay,
network froze or something.
okay, because everybody else was frozen, and I was wondering whether it's me or everybody else. Okay, so as I was saying, like, yeah, there are some tips and just tricks that you learn along the line from practicing consistently. I was saying that if you're taking like a picture from a mobile device and you're angled underneath, you're likely going to add like height to the person. So if you have like a short model or the subject of what you want to take is short and you want it to look a bit elongated underneath, don't forget the content creators group. The pinky under the phone is always like the best. And then if you want to shorten, I think it depends on what you're trying to go for, because at the end of the day, one beautiful thing about phone photography as well is that it allows you to be extra creative and do a lot of trial and error. So if something doesn't look good, is you just delete it and try again. So I'm going to show another image and also talk about it as well. So this is also, okay, so this is another like fashion short. There's also a place in lifestyle content. While lifestyle content tends to be spontaneous, there's also a little bit of intentionality. What people call styling of a shoot is I mean, those are terms that people would use on an actual shoot, but it still applies when you're using like a mobile device. That you have to consider like the environment, consider like the subject. I know that I'm very sure that during the course of the training you run through like subjects and placements and things like that. So these are things to also consider depending on how you want the brand to be depicted or how you want what you're shooting to be depicted. So let me do one for I don't know if there are any beauty or makeup people here. I'll do one for you guys. One of the best features on any mobile device for beauty shots is portraits. On If you're using an, then like I said, it's not just about Apple. All these features exist on other devices. It cuts across other devices. Sometimes you just have to go to Google and find out what is it called. It might be called something else on your device. A quick Google search like portrait mode on iPhone, on Samsung, is what? It will now direct you, and then you would actually, but the method of using them typically applies the same way across all mobile devices. Now, this is a beauty shot that was done on an iPhone. The makeup artist did not pay me. She kept on asking like, will you continue taking pictures for me? And I told her if I keep taking pictures, I'm going to send her an invoice, because this was just a picture that was taken in passing. One of the major things, like this picture, it wasn't random. There were so many settings that were put in place to achieve this picture. I'm a very I don't know. I hope did we mention Facetune in any part of the teaching, any part of the training?
No, no, no. We didn't delve into that aspect.
Yeah, because I'm a Facetune
Just
hater.
healing, like
So I
just
just
we just talked about healing in with editing.
Yeah. So like me, I'm not a because I always tell people that what you want to achieve on Facetune, you can actually achieve it through setting your imagery before you take it. Um, that beauty shot aesthetic is it should actually be pre you take the picture, not after you take a picture. If you're a makeup artist or you're trying to do beauty shots or head shots, it shouldn't be after you take the image, you now go to Facetune and try to start like playing with lights and contour and all of those things. You can actually do it before. So for this picture, I'm going to talk about like the settings for this picture. it was taken with a wide camera. But when I mean wide camera, it wasn't like the ultra wide, it wasn't 0.5. It was more on the, what was it? Yes, it was 26, 1.8. So pretty fair. It wasn't ultra wide. And then another thing with this picture, it was shot on portrait mode and studio. So if you're using an Apple device, portrait mode has sub features. So it's not just I'm shooting on portraits and then you leave it. Portrait mode has natural light. So I wasn't going to use natural light because this wasn't outdoor. The natural light was not going to look as pleasing if this picture was done outside. This was indoor, and the makeup artist had like a ring light that came with supplementary lights and things like that. And sometimes, like, practicalizing it on your device is that simple. It's a studio light that is here. So when I'm going to take a portrait, I'm going to put my device on portrait mode and put the setting on studio light. There are some devices that go as far as even put like food shots, like things like that. They'll tell you like, oh, are you shooting food? It's not always the best though. But for beauty shots, I will tell you that 100%. I think the portrait mode was created for makeup artists and people that are interested in doing beauty shots. I think they had those kind of people, those caliber of people in mind when they created that feature. Sorry, my phone locked. Okay. I'll have to share my screen. Just give me a second. I don't know how much time we have, but maybe I'll just do 2 more images. Or if you can do more, no problem. I can do 7 more images. Oh, I have 7 minutes. Okay. So let me do like 2 more images, and if there are any questions, I will now answer those questions. So these are also like portrait mode as well. And you know that when you take a picture in portrait mode, I think what makes some people worry about portrait mode is like, oh, does the background have to be always blurred? You can adjust that post when you take that image. You can actually remove. Then maybe we should just do like a simulation. You don't need to even within like your setting, you can adjust the blurred background. There's so much you can do with the image, like you can reduce the depth of it. I feel like it's not really translating here, but thank God. So even like things like exposure, so this same exposure that I always advise is better you tweak before you actually take the image. You can do it post the image, but it's really better before you take the image. As far as filters and all those things are concerned, I don't think it's best to use. Like iPhone filters are fine, but they're not my choice to do any edits. I'd rather export out of my mobile device and edit, depending on what you're going for. I'll show another lifestyle picture. So some people might look at this image and you might just wonder, oh, like, how does this apply to me? This is an image I was taken with active motion. Like everybody in this shot was moving, or rather, would I say everything in this shot was moving? But then again, it's one of the things I mentioned. So this picture wasn't taken using the gimbal. I actually took it with like my grip. So that grip is one of the very first things. Like if you are actually looking to actively do mobile photography, even if you want to get other equipment like a gimbal and things like that, you should actually master the grip, because the grip feels as though you are telling every other person to wait, because people can't be moving and you're moving at the same time. So your grip actually helps to get things. Like this guy was packing like a box on top of the box, on top of the bus, and it was just very, the shots, when I saw what was happening, the shots was just very vibrant. So if you're like me and you're actually looking to take photography for, if you're trying to go into mobile photography for the sake of actually like doing creative shots, like lifestyle shots, the potentials are it's beyond limits, right? You might decide to, the people that are here that you're probably trying to learn how to do it for your business and apply it into your business. And then there are people that are here that you actually want to do it as in, this is what I want to do. Like I want to take pictures with my mobile device. Like I want to be able to create content with my mobile device. I know there are people, I would use like familiar names, for example. This creator, I know so many people here would know Noble Igwe, for example. Noble Igwe gets hired to create content and shoots for people. But I wonder if everybody knows that Noble Igwe uses his mobile device to do everything. He doesn't shoot with a professional camera. He uses an iPhone. But I'm trying to remember what model he uses. I'm not really sure. But the point is that everything he does, he gets paid to create content for people using his mobile device, image, sometimes videos, and everything is done with his mobile phone. Me so much of Prince Jace. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name well, Prince Jace or Prince Darius. He's a Ghanaian photographer, but he does only mobile. Like his claim to fame was like he was one of those people that really started showing the world the possibilities of using a mobile phone to take pictures. Very creative. And I know that he has done photo shoots. So I think he did a shoot for Burna Boy at some point. Did a lot of creative shoots. Like if you see most of these very creative imagery that has like darkened people, maybe beach sands that are pink, or because he plays with colors, he takes it into like editing and plays with colors. But the point is that he even starts like from the settings and how he takes his imagery. It's very intentional. Like he got recognized by Apple. That was actually how he blew. He got recognized by Apple. Like his photography got recognized by Apple. They used them in ad campaigns, and then people started hiring him to do campaign pictures, both creative, both lifestyle, both fashion, and everything is through his mobile device. So you can just imagine like someone is being paid thousands of dollars to use his mobile device to take pictures, and that's pretty much his bread and butter. So the last image I would show, because of time, I'm trying to decide which one. Okay, I would use this because it's very random. One personal tip that I always give people that want to start like creating imagery with their mobile device is, there are people that call it having a creative eye. But me, I wouldn't call it having a creative eye. I call it taking imagery in a creative way. So this is a popular, this is a popular street in somewhere in Monrovia in Liberia. And when I saw the street signs, I also particularly like taking pictures of street signs. But I could have taken one angle because this is one, you know how it's just like how street signs are in some parts of Lagos, where is one pole and one street sign is showing this side and one street sign is showing the other side. But when I'm going to be doing the narrative behind this image, my narrative is going to be discussing the entire length. So I had to look for a way to, how can I take this image that will be represented? Believe you me, I went around this particular street sign to check the angles. There's also a place of patience in photography, especially in mobile photography. In fact, any creative process, there's a place of patience because you need to actually take your time, think through it, like take some test shots. Test shots are not only like in when you're doing like proper shoots. when photographers, like even with your phone, you can take test shots. So like, for example, because I'm traveling with two devices, or because I was traveling with two devices, I won't say anybody should get two devices, but because I was traveling with two devices, what I typically used to do was that I would take one with my SE and see how that looks. If the picture is like really, if it makes so much sense on my SE, I'm like, that means it's going to be like 10 times better on my 11, or at least it will be fairly better, because they both shoot, both the 4K that is on the 11 is also on the SE. All those features, every single thing are on both devices. The only difference is the 11 has wide angle, has ultra wide, and SE doesn't have wide angle. So if you are not a wide angle junkie like me, you can do with an SE, and an SE is a very affordable. It sounds like I'm trying to market the phone, but the SE is a very affordable Apple device. There are so many people that hate on it because they don't like the home button. But iPhone SE is one of the cheapest iPhones out there, but it has one of the strongest cameras. Actually, it does have one of the strongest cameras, especially for photography. Even if you're doing like product shots and things like that, it just doesn't shoot in wide angle. So if you want to do lifestyle shots, like lifestyle pictures, it may not be the best device for you. But if you're doing product, if you're doing like just everyday pictures, outdoor things like that, it will work for you. So at this juncture, I think I'm very open to questions, tips. The name of the phone, which one? So there are two devices I use. I use iPhone 11 because of for wide angle shots, and then for regular shots, I use an iPhone SE. I wish I could show you like some of the pictures I've taken with the iPhone SE, so that you know that with with one of the cheapest iPhones, all things are possible. So
Thank you so very much, Chika. And just to piggyback almost immediately off of this last thing that she said, my list of, will I say, entry level, good quality smartphones with good cameras is of course, the iPhone SE, the iPhone 11, then, and those are for iPhone. Then for Android now, you have I'll say the maybe, okay, I said entry level, so like maybe the Google Pixel 6. It might be on the high side. The Google Pixel 6, the Samsung, the Samsung, well, A series, like some of the A series, like the A 1505, those ones have like really decent cameras. Then not to now talk of the S series, like the S. I will start from like maybe S9 or so, but like there are way too many different cameras. Someone asked, Olenka asked, I have a question talking about the properties and details of a picture when you want to create it. Is it like you go to your settings each time you want to recreate pictures to change it? So like, do you have specific settings that you use, or do you always have to change it per situation? Chika, can you just quickly touch on that then before we move to the
okay, so when you say settings, like this is not your mobile phone settings, this is just your camera settings. So yes, past situations, I do adjust like my camera settings if there is need. So they are the already functional settings on your device that is already put in place to give you a fairly good shot. But the phone manufacturers have so graciously added extra features for situations to make pictures better. Like we have spoken about trying to do like even like show what like how to practically do a long exposure picture, but unfortunately I don't have any long exposure pictures on my 11. But so like for those kind of situations, or like you want to shoot in a dark room, or you want to shoot indoor, you want to shoot outdoor, and the sun is too much, there's too much light. Yes, you adjust your camera settings to suit the situation. And very often times, some of these settings have already that's what we're talking about. Some of these settings have already been pre-defined. Like if the portrait now was created for beauty shots. So you know that if you're taking if you want to take a beauty shot, an ideal setting is to shoot on portrait mode. However, if you're indoor and if you're indoor and you're not using natural light, portrait mode presetting is natural light. But if you're indoor, you can't shoot on natural light, or you shouldn't shoot on natural light because it wouldn't give you the best image. So you change your portrait setting, you're still on portrait mode, and then you change it to studio lights. So like those kind of settings, yes, you adjust it from time to time. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, we have a hand up. I think that's Mr. Godwin.
Yeah, hi, Chika. So thank you very much for the session. I just wanted to add to Olayinka's question. I think what he was asking, because I was curious about it too, is so there was a point where you swiped up to show the settings that you applied to take a particular picture. So I think what he's asking is, and what I'm curious about is like, is there a way, so if I wanted to recreate that picture with those same settings, like, is there something I can do on the phone that gives me those exact settings, or do I have to manually do it all over again?
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to manually do it all over again. Like it's just like yeah, it's unfortunate. Maybe now that we're discussing, maybe we'll pitch it to like one mobile device company that just help replicate. Because actually, like I just thought about it, like as you asked the question, yes, you actually have to manually like recreate those settings again. Unless you're shooting, unless you're shooting with an app. So if it's your normal phone camera, yes, you have to manually do it. If you're shooting with DJI, for example, with DJI you don't have to manually do this because you can actually save like how you were shooting and just shoot from that. But you have to be using a DJI device. Like there has to be a DJI device connected to your mobile phone to be able to do that. So DJI Osmo, I forgot to make DJI Osmo Mobile. So it's a mobile phone gimbal. There are other brands of mobile phone gimbal, but honestly, most of them are not as superior to DJI because they were the ones that literally brought mobile gimbals to the market, and durability wise. So you might find like a mobile gimbal. Okay, I'm talking because somebody asked here about DJI. So the gimbal thing, not to dwell so much on it, there are multiple kinds of gimbal. There's 2-axis and 3-axis gimbal. All DJI gimbals are 3-axis because that means it goes all 360 degrees. It can go to any angle. If you're using a 2-axis gimbals are cheaper, but they cannot capture in all angles. They have angle limitations. Yes, the DJI gimbal. They have angle limitations. And the good thing about DJI is that they have different models. So you can also pick a model that is that aligns with your pockets. And there are differences, but the differences are kind of negligible depending on what you want. Like the newer models, DJI 6 and 5, you can extend the head like a selfie stick. Whereas like my model of DJI is an SE. I have a thing for SEs. So the DJI Osmo Mobile SE, the major feature is grip and like so it's they really did a lot on the grip. Yeah, so that's exactly my model. So they really played on the grip. So this is for if you really want to be taking pictures and images on the go. You are not like if you're not really like a professional in that area, you are less likely to have a slip because the grip on the SE is very to the T. But the thing with this one is that it has no elongated head. It's not like the 6 or 5 that extends. So you will see other models. There are some other like Chinese brands, and the funniest thing is that most of them are priced almost similarly. The only ones that are cheaper are the 2 axle. Anyone that is very cheap, like if you see a gimbal that is like significantly cheaper and comparison to a DJI, it's probably because it's a 2 axis, not a 3 axis. But the 3 axis is better because you can shoot in all angles, like all angles. So, any other questions? Yeah, those are 2 axes. They're not as professional, but they would suffice though for a beginner. They would suffice.
Mm.
They are significantly cheaper.
Okay.
But the thing is that it will annoy you at some point. So that's why I wouldn't advise people to go for it, because when you use it for a while and then you get so used to it and you're like, I want to go to the next step, you realize that the device has limitations and it starts annoying you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Chika. So since we didn't have Joy in the class, I don't know if we have enough time um for Lajide Zainab to just quickly within like less than 5 minutes, just tell us how you were able to achieve this long exposure picture. Like it was one of my this along with this other picture was one of my favorite pictures from the previous assignments. So can you just, if you are here, can you just signify, raise your hand so that we would like let you so you can unmute your mic and also, just explain, give us a a brief explanation of how you're able to achieve this. I could say how, but I would like for you to just share. Are you here with us?
Yes,
Okay, that's inspired. All right,
good
hi,
evening.
inspired.
Good evening,
Good
Mr.
evening.
So, I really don't understand what you want me to explain, but in this picture,
Mm,
what I actually did was I turned on the live mode on the iPhone setting.
mm,
Then I took the picture. When I finished taking the picture, I went to the left hand side. There's a setting there. There's live mode and every exposure, long exposure, and every other stuff. Then I clicked
mm.
on the long exposure. That was how I achieved this.
Was there any special thing you did for the lights or the smoke? Is it that was all you did?
Yeah. I actually blew out one of the candle there. That was
Okay,
just the
that's
thing
why
that
we
I
have
did.
the
Yes, that
smoke.
was why we have the smoke there. Then I edited it a little bit in Lightroom. That's all.
So that the blacks will be blacker. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
Um, so yeah, I was going to if you did not explain. I'm just going to say that that's how yeah, we're able to get long exposure pictures on an iPhone. On Android, you just shoot in long exposure mode, and it will give you something similar to this. So I think, Godwin, your hand was up a second ago, or did you bring it down?
No. So I had asked the question I wanted to ask.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think the last thing that I want to do is just quickly, you know how I said we did most of the editing for yesterday in Lightroom. Now we want to see, I want to see if we can do everything in Snapseed, then end up in Lightroom for the exporting, because unlike Lightroom now, when you are exporting, you can't, you know that thing that I said when exporting to Instagram, it's good to set it at, like, set your long side to be ×2 of the recommended size for Instagram, which is 1080 by, let me just show that instead of talking. So yeah, so the recommended portrait feed size is 10 by 1350. But when you are exporting, because of Instagram compression and all whatnot, you would do ×2 of this. So it will wind up being ×2 of this, ×2 of this, of which the longer side is that 2700. But the thing is that in Snapseed, you can't have custom export settings. So it just has specific fixed ones, fixed ones, fixed ones, fixed ones. So instead of, yesterday we did from Lightroom to Snapseed, you might lose that because Snapseed is working on a picture that you already edited in Lightroom. So it's almost like they're editing twice. You might have some drop in quality. So instead of going, another way to do it, instead of going from Lightroom to Snapseed, you just do from Snapseed, finish everything you're doing there, then now save it as in the normal size of the phone has it. Then now go to Lightroom to export it now, to now like resize and everything. So let me quickly share my mobile screen. Let me stop this one. I'll do this in under 5 minutes. Okay, so let me share the screen of my mobile. So now, so this time around, we're starting in Snapseed. Then we'll go to Lightroom. I remember the main reason, actually, because all of this can be done in one app. The main reason why we're doing this, hopping from one app to the other app, is because of this extra things up here that's stressing our life. If that was not the case, it would have just been a thing of straight up just just doing everything in Lightroom. And conveniently, all of the settings from our last edits, you can find them here under amongst the presets that they have down here in your last edit. But this may not be convenient for you because, sometimes your settings might change. And, what we even did, we had already edited the picture in Lightroom before coming to now do it here. So it's only the settings from what we did in Snapseed that is here. So let's quickly tune this image. I think the first thing I want to do is brighten it up. It's looking a bit dark. I'll brighten it up, then increase the contrast and the saturation. And I think just like that, okay, maybe bring up the highlights because that's where white is. It's looking a bit too much. This is then shadows. Increase. No, that's a bit much. Let me even reduce the shadows. And with this, I think the picture is good to go. Then now the main thing that brought us to Lightroom, sorry, to Snapseed is this healing. So I'll just brush over this, brush over this, brush over it, brush over it. Now, if this app actually had a brush tool that is like just normal paint brush, I will just paint white on top of all this place instead of going through this. So I think it's okay. Yeah. Then just so that we have like a better overall image, because if you look at the healing, it tried, but there's still some smudges up there. So I'll crop down, then expand again. So tools, go to crop and crop down so that we don't get too much of that edge up there. That is not so wonderful. Crop down. Then okay. Then I think let me tune it a bit more again to have increase the contrast so that the whites will stand out a bit more. But that reduces the saturation. So let me increase it again. I think it's fine. Then now finally go to expand and wait, and make it expand. So you can see there are actually three options. Either you use this smart, so this smart expand is that it's trying to, it will be picking the, to be picking like the edges to try and fill in this empty space. But white would fill those empty spaces with the color white. It's just that, as you can see, it's not exactly the same shade of white. So either we, if we want to use this, it's either we go back to tuning and adjust some of the settings to make sure that this um, white is white. Like say, let's tune the highlights, increase the highlights. So now it's completely white. And with this image, like this kind of image now, send it to Jumia, send it to Konga, they will collect it straight. There have been cases where like some of these sites reject some people's images because it's not pure white. They go and tell you to go and do photo shoots, or that they have in-house photographer that you pay to do photo shoot with them. But you can do all of this on your mobile and with editing. So for now, in Snapseed, what I was saying about all those export settings and stuff, it doesn't allow you see. These are the only sizes it allows you to resize. It's fixed. You can't choose the size yourself. So so you will just keep things under settings. Don't change. Do not resize. Format and quality. Set it to JPEG 100. Then go back then export and save. Then it will now just be a thing of going to Lightroom. If you don't want this size, or if you are going to upload it to Instagram, you now just come to Lightroom, look for where it was saved. It should be under Snapseed here. Then go to share, export as. Then remember those are our settings, and good a thing, it will just keep it for us. But you need to make sure that you crop first, and you go to aspects, then make sure it's 3 by 4, right? No, 4 by 5. 4 by 5. Then we done. Okay. Export as. But like if these are your settings already, you may not need to go to export as, because it will use your last settings, and just export and you are good to go. So I think with that, we are. I think that should conclude today's session. I don't know if we have any questions. If there's time to take any more questions, Mr. Godwin, over to you.
Hi, Mr. Sonto. And hello, Chika. Thank you both for such an engaging and exciting training. It has been an awesome journey from day one. We enjoy your engagement. We enjoyed how you carried the participant along from day one. I myself have gained a lot of knowledge, and I really appreciate you for everything you have done so far and the experiences and knowledge you have given us. So I would like to do something random. Maybe we will ask the audience, to anyone that has probably used one of the skills learned here to improve their businesses. We just like them to maybe indicate by raising their hand, so that I can give them the platform to share their experiences. So anybody that wants to speak, maybe there's something that you learned from Mr. Soto's training session, and that you have implemented, and it has actually helped you in your business. Please indicate so that we can bring you up to speak. While we are looking at the chat box to see anybody that wants to speak, I also like to mention that today is the last day for the mobile photography session. And next week, we'll be starting with graphic designs. And I hope everybody's really anticipating, to dive into that course. You need to learn how to design logos for your businesses, design e-flyers, and what have you. These are all created courses that would improve your business potential. And I also want to mention that to be eligible for your certificate, you need to have at least 70% of attendance. And within the course of the week, you should be getting your certificate for the mobile and photography session. For those of you that, got stayed through at least 70% of the training session. And Mr. Sonto, I don't know, for the assignments, did you give an assignment yesterday,
I
right?
will. Yes, I did. I realized that I didn't share the upload link. I would share that tonight or latest tomorrow. Then I think it will be open till like Wednesday, so that before the next session, everybody well, I would even grade and know who like the top three already are. So that it doesn't eat into the next session.
Okay. Thank you so much. Please, when you are done evaluating the results, do kindly send them across to us so that we could reward them for their effort and, putting out, an outstanding performance. I can see you already made friends. A lot of people are already saying, they appreciate Mr. So is such a good facilitator. I mean, I really enjoyed your session and it was amazing. So yeah, no one has actually indicated. Does anyone want to speak on how the training session has been impactful to their businesses? Whether you have probably used the lighting methods to take a photo and to do your business, using the grid and all of that, exciting techniques that we learned from Mr. Sonto. Anyone? Um, while we are waiting for that, I also like to let me just check my notes in case I miss anything. Okay, so I guess, or is it that you guys are shy? Okay, you know what? Maybe you just chat in put it in the chat box. Let's just, I could probably just read your experiences if you are too shy to come up and speak about it. And also, I'll be dropping a survey probably tomorrow in the group, the WhatsApp platform. So you could please kindly take that survey so you can give us feedback on, the training session so far, how you want us to probably improve on our trainings moving forward. That would be very important feedback to get from, you guys. So any, final words from Mr. Sonto, just, something to make your participants feel better. I mean, they're already feeling good, but, they feel, I don't feel sad.
No, so if I were to say anything in closing, it would be to just, well, to paraphrase Nike, just do it. Like especially for businesses, like if you are doing it as a business or even if you are doing it for fun. In fact, it's even nicer if you are doing it for fun. But for those doing it for your business, having these skills would give you an edge. Even for like when you eventually maybe start working with photographers, you are doing big shoots, you are traveling, or your business is growing, being able to take pictures that will help sell your products, that will help boost you as a brand is an important skill to have. So I would say the time you spent here is time well spent. And I would just say keep on practicing at your free time as the opportunity comes about. Once you have a new product, just go outside, take pictures of it. Who knows, you might even like these pictures that you're using now are things that could be used as reference later down the line for other people that you would be working with, or things that could be in your portfolio. Like for example, Chika here, all these things that she's doing with her mobile and things is from years of constant practice. Even me myself is just continued practice. So yeah, I would say to sum it all up, just do it. And yeah, thank you all for taking the time. I thoroughly enjoyed doing this.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Just like Mr. Sonto has mentioned, to be the best, you need to keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. And Mr. Sonto really enjoyed your time with us. And hopefully, if we do have, when we have the other cohort of these our training sessions, we'll be glad to have you again on Adara Foundation Digital Skills Training. So. Also, I would like to thank Chika also for, taking out the time to also engage the participants. So that will be it. I want to reiterate, please do not forget next week we are starting a new course, graphic design. We have an exciting facilitator, very experienced, knows his onions. So I want everybody to also be here and be excited to learn a new course. So till we meet again next weekend. Lastly, I would like to mention, please do follow us on all social media platforms. And that will be all from me tonight. Good night, everyone. Bye.